Hello students, in this session we are going to start with thinkers. Okay, so as we have already discussed in the previous session, we will be starting with thinkers in this session. And in this session I'll not be taking any specific thinker. What I'll do is I'll give you an orientation of all the thinkers, right? So we need to study Marx, we need to study Weber, Durkheim, Parsons, Merton, Mead. So what I'll do is I'll talk about each of these thinkers. I'll give you a brief idea or introduction of all these thinkers. I'll basically introduce all these thinkers to you in this particular session. A very important session. Some of the points that I'm taking up here you may not understand, but you don't worry about anything. Once we complete thinkers, you will get everything. So for example, when we talk about methodology, I will talk about certain methods which is used by Weber, Durkheim, etc. For example, I may use the word Verstehen, I may use ideal types, I may say comparative analysis, indirect experiment, causal, functional approach. So different words I may tell at this point of time when I'm introducing these thinkers. You may not understand, but don't worry about any of this. We will be taking care of all these thing in the thinkers chapter. Okay, so when we discuss specifically about Weber, I'll talk about all those methods of Weber, and in fact all these could be asked as your prelims question. So you don't worry about anything if you're not able to understand here, because in the next 2-3 weeks that I'm going to handle the thinkers, it will take around 3 weeks at least. Okay, or at least I have to take around 15 sessions for you to complete the thinkers. It's around 50 to 60% of your syllabus. Okay, so what all things I'm going to teach you in the 15 days, I'm going to consolidate and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to teach. So don't worry about again and again I'm telling this, because once you attend the session, some of you might be afraid. Even though all these things, when you study all these, you will understand all these are very simple. But when I'm taking those words at this point of time, when you are not knowing anything about sociology, I'm talking about the freshers. Others, those who are attending the session, it will be easy for you. You even don't want to attend this particular session, you can directly start attending from the next session. So this is introduction. So what I'll do is I'll talk about what is the socio-economic or intellectual context in which all these thinkers are writing. So I'll divide this discussion in terms of the context in which they are writing, the different perspectives that they are using. For example, even though Marx and Durkheim writing in the same context, almost the same time, but they are using entirely different perspective. Durkheim is using a functionalist perspective and Marx is using a conflict perspective. I'll discuss all these in detail. Weber is using an interpretive perspective, Mead is using an interactionist perspective. So different people use different perspective. Okay, so we try to understand all these briefly. Okay, so here we will start with the context in which they are writing. I'll explain the context, in which context the initial sociologists were writing, in which context the later sociologists were writing. We will also talk about the perspectives that they have used. We will also discuss about the methods that they have used. Okay, so and we will also briefly talk about the theories that we are supposed to study. Okay, so and formally this is your formal or inauguration or starting of the thinkers, but the first thinker, that is Marx, we will do separately from next session. Okay, so here you can see here these are not important, like Karl Marx, you can see here he is a German sociologist. Productive years means the most active period. The most active period means important writings in this period, during his period. Okay, then you can see here productive years 1842 till his death he is writing. So most active period is 1840 to 60. Emile Durkheim is a French sociologist and productive year 1890 to 1917 he is writing. Max Weber is again a German sociologist. Productive years, if you see, 1900 to 20. George Herbert Mead, American sociologist. Parsons is also American sociologist. Merton also American sociologist, and Merton is actually a student of Parsons. Okay, so all these thinkers we will see in detail in the coming sessions. Now we will see the context in which they are writing, the methods that they are using. Everything have to be explained in detail in the thinkers chapter. Okay, so now So let's start with socio-economic and political condition. So when you talk about early thinkers like Marx, Weber, Durkheim, they are the early thinkers. They formulated their thoughts in the context of socio-economic and political chaos in European society. So when we discussed about emergence of sociology, we have discussed about modernity and social changes related to emergence of sociology, right? So at that time I have told you there are a lot of social changes, social chaos, social issues, social disorder, total turmoil was present in most European society, and especially in France. The immediate context was present in France because France, in their democracy, establishment of democracy was actually preceded by a revolution. So Europe was witnessing a drastic transformation in terms of industrialization, we have discussed it, democratization in particular, and modernization in general. And when we discuss about modernization, we have discussed these specific elements, right? Industrialization, it came to be associated with a lot of social problems, like new types of crimes emerged, workers working in inhuman working condition, more number of working hours, less wages, nuclear families emerged, domestic violence, breakages, new types of crimes, pickpocketing, okay, slums emerged. So altogether a new type of poverty, deprivation you can see, okay. And again democracy also was associated with certain problem related to the uncertainty of its success. Certain societies like UK, England, if you talk about the transition from authoritarian to democracy was gradual, but in France it was all of a sudden immediately after the revolution. So it was preceded by a revolution. So the total chaos which was present in France is because of the uncertainty towards the success of democracy. People were not certain or sure about the success of democracy because they have not experienced it before, okay. So these thinkers attempted to understand the problem of social order faced by different countries of Europe. So you can see in these people's writing, mostly the most important concern is maintaining social order. And you can see that in the writings of Durkheim and Marx very clearly. And Weber is not sociologist who's suggesting problems, rather he's all about trying to understand the problems, okay. But you can see solutions to the problems in the Marxian writings more, and he's talking about socialism, communism, etc., and to an extent in Durkheim's writings also. Okay, so the maintenance of social order is the most important concern of the initial sociologist. Although these thinkers wrote in the similar context, their response to the situation was different in terms of different perspectives. Yes, so we will have to see this. They use different perspective. I have told you Marx was using a conflict perspective and trying to identify the dysfunctions of society, or any social phenomena exist in society, whether it is religion, whether it is education or political system. He's trying to identify the dysfunctions. He highlights the negatives. When we talk about religion, Marx says religion is the hurt of hurtless world, soul of soulless condition, and the opium of masses. And when we talk about constitution, Marx talking about it's a document of bourgeois. And when we talk about the parliament, Marx talking about in terms of executive committee of bourgeois. Okay. Similarly, education is creating labors to suit capitalism. So all these are the interpretations which is given by Marx by using a conflict perspective and trying to highlight the dysfunctional aspects, whether it is family or religion. Family is an exploitative device. Because of family only, workers are going for work and they are exploited at the workplace because of family. If there is no family, I may not be ready to suffer all these exploitation which I am facing at the workplace. Just because my family need to survive and I may be the breadwinner of the family, I am ready to face all the exploitation done by the worker according to Marx. So family is actually an exploitative device, okay. So all these, even family's case, religion's case, everywhere Marx is using a conflict perspective and trying to identify the dysfunctions. We will discuss in detail about this and you will learn Marx beautifully. You will change your perception about Marx after you learn Marx with me, okay. And I can promise you, again, one thing is very important: you may love Marx or you may hate Marx, but you can never ignore Marx and the concerns raised by Marx, okay. So then methods, so similarly Durkheim, functional perspective, he will try to identify the functions of anything. For example, inequalities are present, they will try to identify the functions of inequality that we have seen in the chapter of stratification. Certain rate of crime is normal for Durkheim, certain rates of suicide is normal for Durkheim. So anything which exists in society is necessarily fulfilling certain vital functions for the society according to the functionalist perspective. Similarly, subject matter is a external reality for Durkheim, and he give importance to society, he give importance to macro reality. When it comes to Weber, you study the internal reality, micro approach and individual centric approach. Okay, so subject matter varies, methods varies, perspectives varies. Okay, so we will see all these in the coming discussions. Mead is an American socio-psychologist intended to develop a science of society which could solve the social problems. American society during first half of 20th century was an emerging welfare state. The solution to social problems was one of the most important challenges before the welfare state. Yes, so America is actually emerging as a welfare state during that time. Talcott Parsons and Merton, when they are writing in 1940s, the entirely different context you can see. The colonialism was a thing of past, it's over. Okay, welfare state was established in number of countries, almost all countries now going for welfare state. And international institutions emerged like UN, World Bank, IMF, okay, IBRD, okay, GATT, different organizations emerged, and people started challenging the supremacy of West. Both were concerned about maintenance of social order and developing guides to planning, and more humanistic approach towards understanding of society is actually followed. Now, in general, Marx, Weber, Durkheim, Mead are called as modern sociologists. So who were the initial sociologists? That is when we talk about Comte, Spencer, etc. They were the initial sociologists. Okay, so Comte is the founding father of sociology. So Saint Simon, we have talked about Comte, Spencer, etc. They were the initial sociologists, and Marx, Weber, Durkheim, Mead were the modern sociologists. And Weber and Durkheim, they are known as fathers of modern sociology. Okay, so Weber is the father of modern sociology. Durkheim also understood as the father of modern sociology. And Parson and Merton are known as later sociologists, or even sometimes contemporary sociologists. Out of this, Marx never called himself a sociologist. I have told you this point many times. Marx is more of like an economist or a political scientist or a philosopher. And we are considering him a sociologist because of his concern towards society, and most of his theories have, you know, a sociological element. Okay, because of his concern towards society, so we are incorporating Marx. And obviously sociology emerged in 1838, right? So it's a very young discipline, so you need some authentic thinkers and theories. So in that context also we have borrowed largely from Marx. Okay, Marx never called himself a sociologist. Mead preferred to call himself a socio-psychologist, and others were pure sociologists. Durkheim, Weber, Parson, Merton were pure sociologists. Okay, now let's look into the perspectives. I've told you functionalist perspective by Durkheim, conflict perspective by Marx, okay, and interpretive perspective by Weber. Understand the meanings attached by the actor to his action, that's his approach. Then interactionism by Durkheim. And Merton and Parson were again functionalist. Merton modified the functionalism and he brought neo-functionalism. So all these things we will discuss when we discuss about thinkers. Okay, see, again, you will not face any problem in thinkers. It's my promise. You can just trust me, you can believe me, you can just follow the class, and you don't want to read anything for thinkers. That's my strong area, and this is not arrogance, this is my confidence, and exactly this confidence is what I'm passing on to you. Okay, just follow the notes, just follow the class, your thinkers will be done, and you will be ready to, you will be in a position to interpret anything in any thinker's perspective. You will not face any problem with respect to thinkers or interpretation or perspective or methods, or in general paper 1. Okay, paper 2 I can't guarantee you anything. Paper 1 you will never face any problem. Okay, perspectives. Different thinkers approach the subject matter of sociology from different viewpoints. Due to this, even if they were writing in the similar context, contrasting theory and often contradictory were developed. Okay, Durkheim carried forward a functional perspective initiated by Comte and Spencer. So that was the initial perspective. Okay, and later on Parson and Merton gave important contribution to the development of functionalism, and Merton belongs to this neo-functionalist school. Okay, Marx introduced a conflict perspective as an entirely new and radical approach towards understanding of society under the influence of Darwin's theory of biological evolution. The initial sociologist frequently used evolutionary perspective. Okay, so like if you see, when we discuss about Marx theory of historical materialism, it's all about understanding society. So he understands society from ancient society to feudal society to capitalism to futuristic societies like socialism and communism. Those are his predictions. So it's a kind of evolution. So he is using an evolutionary perspective. Similarly, when we discuss about Durkheim, he is using an evolutionary perspective in his theory of division of labor. So both of these people are using evolutionary perspective, which has actually acted as the initial perspective in sociology. From where it is drawn from biological theory, right? Darwin's theory of biological evolution. Similarly, Parsons also using an evolutionary perspective in his grand theory. Mead is also using an evolutionary perspective in his theory of mind, self and society. So all these initial sociologists were using evolutionary perspective, which is directly from natural science biology. Okay. So the initial sociologists frequently use this perspective. Both Marx and Durkheim framed the evolutionary theory of society. Parsons, writing in 1970s, also developed a grand evolutionary theory, and Mead was also developed a comprehensive evolutionary theory by linking mind, self and society. Max Weber introduced interpretive perspective using a micro approach. He emphasized on studying the internal meanings, motives and values held by the individual. Okay. Mead laid the foundation of understanding of society in terms of interaction between people. We have discussed it already. We will discuss it in detail in Thinkers when we discuss about Mead. This perspective later on came to be known as symbolic interactionism. Apart from this, Marx and Durkheim were macro sociologists, so they are giving importance to society. When we talk about macro sociologists, giving importance to society, whereas Mead and Weber were micro sociologists. That means they are giving importance to individual. Okay, so Marx and Weber, they are societies supreme or society centric, and macro approach, here micro approach, individual centric, individual meanings, internal meanings, motives, etc. Whereas Parsons and Merton combined these two approaches and they followed an integrated approach. Okay, now the methods. So when you see the methods, the establishment of society as distinct, with the establishment of sociology here, with the establishment of sociology as a distinct discipline, and search for specific methods can be seen in the writings of all the thinkers. Weber and Durkheim framed specific methods to be used in sociology. You can add that from the later discussion that we are going to take. As I have told you, purposely I didn't include it here because you'll be confused and you'll be worried. All these are going to be studied, so it will be easy for you. Worst hand, comparative analysis, causal pluralism, causal probabilism, ideal types, indirect experiment, multivariate analysis. So different analysis. Only the names look difficult. The methods are actually so easy. Okay. Marx also developed methods for studying the society, which later on became the part of sociological method. Merton developed a functional paradigm, but Parsons was more involved in abstract theorization without practically using any specific method. Mead used quantitative methods similar to natural science for developing his theory of self. Now, when we come to views about individual and society, I have told you for some group individual is supreme, some group society is supreme, some group both are supreme. Marx consider society as supreme. Weber consider individual as supreme. Durkheim consider society as supreme. Mead consider individual as supreme. So some sections society importance, some section individual importance, some sections macro, some micro. Some say external aspects to be studied, some say internal aspects to be studied. When it comes to Parsons and Merton, they integrated both. That's it. So for a sociologist, the smallest part of subject matter is an individual and the largest unit is the society as a whole. Okay, understanding the relation between individual and society has been the task of all thinkers. Individuals are woven into pattern of relationships, then forming a society, some relationship, and that forms the society. So different patterns of relationship you can see in terms of family, in terms of different social institutions. Okay, these patterns of relationships are mediated by social institutions, okay, social groups and social processes which are present as an integral dimension of society. Different thinkers had different views about supremacy and primacy about individual and society. Marx and Durkheim gave importance to primacy of society over individual. Okay, for Durkheim, society is supreme and controls the individual. So, as per Durkheim, you are preparing for civil services because society is pressurizing you to do that. Okay, so that's what society-centric approach. Whatever you do is it actually in consonance with the society. What society tells you, you do that. Okay, in some way that is also true because family pressure, etc. will be there, obviously. Okay, for Durkheim, okay, society has its own existence irrespective of will of the individual. That is, society came into existence its own. Society is sui generis. Marx understood society as a system of production having a structure. Both Mead and Weber gave primacy to individual. For Weber, social reality is constructed in terms of meanings attached by the actor to his action. So everything is related to the meanings which is developed in the minds of the actor. So I am preparing for civil service because that's the meaning which is generated in the minds of the people. Social reality is there that may tell you anything. If that is the case, everybody should have prepared for civil services, right? So if society is demanding you, means everybody should have prepared for this exam, but that's not the case. So meanings generated in the minds of the people is considered more important according to Weber, and that's more logical also. For Weber, social reality is constructed in terms of meanings attached by the actor to their action. So what is the subject matter for Weber? Study social action and establish the cause and effect relationship. How can you establish the cause and effect relationship? Try to understand the meaning attached by the actor to his action, and thereby you can establish the cause and effect relationship objectively. Okay. Mead understood the realities of society in terms of interaction taking place between individuals. These interactions are the building blocks of society. Parsons and Merton developed an integrated approach by synthesizing the earlier viewpoints. Earlier means Marx and Durkheim, macro, societal centric, Weber and Mead, micro, individual centric. Parsons and Merton integrated this, combined these two approaches. For them, both individual and society are part of the same process and cannot be separated. They are interdependent and complementary. Okay, you cannot ignore one for the other. Both are required. If you are only focusing on one, it's a partial understanding of society. Without internal meanings, only external meanings, if you're studying, that's a partial understanding. Similarly, individual act with external pressure also. So if you're only talking about meanings, then that is also a partial understanding. So both are required according to these people, Merton and Parsons. So they favored the exclusion of the others. They are interdependent and complementary. Parsons expressed these views in the dichotomy of motivational and value. Don't worry about this word. This word you will be studying when it comes to Parsons' theory of social action. Every action is because of motivational and value orientation. Motivational means your own motive. You are studying for IAS, you're studying, preparing for civil services because your own motivation, one thing, and values of society, second thing. Okay, so motivational and value both are required. That means society as well as individual, internal as well as external, micro and macro. That's what integrated approach. Whereas Merton emphasizes manifest and latent function. So don't worry about this word also. Manifest means something which can be seen, direct function. Latent means indirect function. For example, when you are studying sociology, you will crack this exam, you will pass this exam. That is a manifest function. You are studying this for passing the exam. And I'm sure if you're studying it properly from my classes, then you will definitely pass the exam. Okay, you will not face any problem in sociology. Latent means the other advantages, other functions of studying sociology. I will tell you, your personality will definitely improve. Your knowledge will improve. Your perception towards society or social phenomena will change. The way you start seeing things with respect to social aspects like this, family, religion, marriage, caste system, everything you see in a different perspective than what you have seen or done till now, what you have understood till now. So your perception will change, automatically your personality will change for sure. That's a latent, that's a hidden function of studying sociology. Okay. So now important studies, these are the theories that we need to study. You will see everything in detail. You will not face any problem. Again and again I'm telling you, only the name looks difficult. Theories are so easy, just like what we have done in case of stratification. That theory was so easy, but when you see Davis and Moore theory of social stratification, it looks difficult, but it was so easy, right? Exactly the same as what you're going to see here in all thinkers. Maybe to an extent Parsons is slightly difficult, but I don't know why people say Parsons is difficult. For me, Parsons is not that difficult, and for you also, once you attend the class, it will not be difficult. But people say it is difficult. I don't know why people say it is difficult, okay? So, theory of historical materialism, theory of mode of production, theory of class and class struggle, theory of alienation. Theory of Social Action in Weber, and Protestant Ethic and Spirit of Capitalism, Weber's methodology. Division of Labor, Suicide, Religion, Durkheim's methodology. Mead, Theory of Self, Parsons, Theory of Social Action, Social System, and Merton, Functional Paradigm, Reference Group, Theory of Economy. So we will see this. We will start with Marx in the next session. So see you guys. If you have any doubt related to any of your previous classes or civil service preparation, keep in touch with me, or you can get in touch with me here. That's my Instagram ID, Zia Safir. Okay, you can join the Telegram channel. You'll get all my classes over there. Economy is there, geography, economy is there, history is there, ethics is there, quantitative aptitude, okay, sociology, all these are there. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can call me directly. This is my number, 9790-892-697, 98955-77775. Okay, so if you need any guidance or test series, if you need to write with me, or personal mentorship program, please feel free to call me. Okay, so this is my Instagram ID, this is my Facebook ID, okay, or that's my Telegram channel. I hope to see you guys. Thank you. So see you guys. Thank you. So that's about the session. I hope you understood everything that we have discussed today. If you have any doubt in any of the videos that we have discussed so far, you can get in touch with me here. That's my Instagram ID. Okay, or you can join the Telegram channel. You will get all my videos over there. Everything is there. Or you can see here, this is the Telegram channel, or this is the Instagram ID. These two are my Facebook page. You can get in touch with me in any of this. If you want to learn economy with me, or history with me, or general studies, any subjects, you can, if you need regular classes, you can get in touch with me, or the online classes are available with Study IQ. You will get all those classes. Still, you will get my YouTube videos in this Telegram channel. Okay. So I hope you understood everything that we have discussed. So see you guys. Thank you.